My favourite person. There he is. Right. Plenty of room down the front, Tim. Tim Transic data, everyone. Right down the front, Tim. Plenty of room, plenty of room. Plenty of room. And not to feel bad, Santino from Ingram Micro, I know you're here if you want to come right down the front as well. Right. The seats down the front are not reserved, everyone. They're just as good to use as any of the others. So pop down. Everyone's still working their way down the front of the room. That's fantastic. Like I said, I got 9 minutes. I got 9 minutes. I'll do my formal introduction when the webinar starts. I'm under the impression that I'm going to be counted in on a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just like TV. So when you see that start to happen, you'll notice my persona will change slightly. I got jokes.
They stare at me while I stare at you. Why can't I keep you safe as my own? One moment I have you, the next you are gone. Rehearse steps on an empty stage. That boy's got my heart in a silver cage. Why can't you want me like the other boys do? They stare at me while I crave you. I walked into the room dripping in gold. Yeah, dripping in gold. I walked into
Hi. Thanks for joining us all. My name's Sean Byrne. I am the head of B2B for Logitech ANZ. And I must say we are extremely proud of being able to bring this panel to you. We're extremely proud that we're able to do it to everyone who's dialed in online. And we just want to thank you all for joining us on this journey. Logitech ANZ is really progressing ourselves along the journey. We certainly couldn't do this without the partners that are joining us. And our partners aren't just our reseller community, the integrators. I know there's a lot of end users, consultants, and vendors that are really part of this journey with us. So I just wanted to say thank you for being part of that with us. And I'm now going to throw to Mike, who's going to moderate and really have a fantastic conversation around hybrid work and sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here. My name is Mike. I want to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today. I would also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Two of the hottest topics in enterprise business right now, hybrid work productivity and sustainability. It's becoming clear that most forward-thinking organisations are working on both to unite operations into a conscious business model. That's why we're meeting today. At its core, it becomes about trust and loyalty. With this in mind, hybrid work now stands as the preferred method for so many modern workers out there at the moment, allowing businesses to now move towards a mainstream adoption of this model to streamline productivity, workplace wellness, and again, sustainability. It's my pleasure to introduce the panel today. We'll be discussing everything hybrid work and sustainability, of course. And as I introduce you, I'd like you to wave to the audience, please, both at home and here with us. So I've got Manny Nathan, head of B2B channels, APAC for Logitech. Heath Clark, manager IT operations, Hydro Tasmania. Very nice. Lee Edgerton, regional partner development manager, Asia for Microsoft. And Phil Gaut, senior director, Samsung Australia. Wonderful to see you all. This is very exciting for me because I happen to be a user of Microsoft since '95, some of you might recall. And I've played a lot of video games on Samsung devices. And of course, I've bought many controllers from the team at Logitech. This is very exciting. Looking forward to going to Tasmania as well. All right, let's get into it. Manny, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to pick on you first. Would you consider your organisation evolving a more conscious business model at the moment, and take us through how you and the team are doing that? And again, I'd like to open this up to all of you to jump in whenever you feel.
At Logitech, we actually made a commitment around sustainability many years ago. It's in our DNA, in all of us are very passionate about as our business model. If you look at it, we've been publishing sustainability reports, published our 14th sustainability report, and we are very passionate about how we go about it. When we look at our design, we actually have introduced a framework a few years ago called as Design for Sustainability. What that actually means is that we understand, first of all, we understand every time we make a product, we leave a footprint, carbon footprint. Every time we manufacture something, we leave a footprint. Every time we get that unit shipped over to you, we leave a footprint. And every time when you, as a customer, use that product, you're drawing power from the grid. So we actually looked at sustainability all the way from design, manufacture, maintain, and getting it recyclable. I want to focus on two things, the second and the third that I just mentioned. Manufacture. We look at it from a design perspective. We already have sustainability aspects. From a manufacturer perspective, we look at what are the products that we are actually using in the manufacturing. We are one of the very first companies in this space that has started using second life plastics. What that actually means is we actually go and procure plastic from landfills. We actually buy these plastics. We break it down. We actually built our products from those second life plastics. One of the recent products that we actually shipped last year, Rally Bar Huddle, we got great experience from our partners and customers about the product itself. But just 67% of that product is made from recycled plastics. We are extremely proud about the product that we created, but we are even more passionate about how we built it, what the footprint that's actually going to leave. Second thing, maintain. How do we maintain that product for years to go? As an organization, we are releasing products, new features. If I look at Rally Bar, one of the products that we released many years ago, we continue to roll out software updates as part of our CollabOS software platform. If you are running Rally Bar in one of our recent versions, you would actually have a completely different experience of that product compared to when you would have bought it 3 years ago. So we continue to actually extend the life of that asset, which is, for a hardware organization, it's a very unique thing to say because we are selling hardware through to our customers, but it is our moral responsibility that we actually extend that life of that asset for as many years as we can before we, for how we maintain that. So that's the DNA of how we are approaching. We implore all of our partners, even our competitors, to look at sustainability, to revolve around that model. I'm extremely grateful our customer, Hydro Tasmania, looked at us and saw the benefit, not only from a product and feature, but the commitment that we have for sustainability. So thank you.
Heath, I'm curious to know your thoughts on that, if you can chime in for us.
Yeah, sure. So Hydro Tasmania is Australia's largest energy generator. So sustainability has been the heart of what we've been doing for over 100 years. So partnering with businesses that are sustainable like us, important as far as choosing products, generally being caring for the environment.
It's becoming ever more important. Phil, I'll get you to jump in as well now. Yeah,
so a lot of sustainability, the majority of the conversation we all have with customers every day. It's absolutely critical from a manufacturer's perspective that we're producing products that have sustainability in mind. And we're on a big journey as an organisation to get there. It's definitely a marathon. And it's not a sprint. So we've made some short decisions. So we've made decisions like removing batteries from all of our remote controls, and we now use RF harvesting, and that's taken 200 million batteries out of circulation immediately. But there's more longer term decisions that we've made, similar to Logitech, around manufacturing, distribution of product, reducing the amount of material that we use. But what's also absolutely critical from our perspective is that we're sharing that information. So we're one of a couple of manufacturers that currently produce and share the carbon cost of usage of our products. So we're now producing for all of our professional products, the carbon cost of production, the carbon cost of usage of those products, and that represents about 75% of the total carbon consumption of a product. And then the carbon cost of disposal. So yeah, certainly in all my conversations with end users, it's certainly the hot topic at the moment. And I think our role as a manufacturer is to make sure that information is disseminated across reseller and end user community so people can make informed decisions.
Yeah, very well said. And you've got a hard one to follow, Lee. They've all got something really good going on there. Do you want to chime in for the Microsoft team?
Well, I mean, I don't think I can hold a candle to Heath, given it's all about hydro. But I think, look, something that Phil said before, it being a marathon. For Microsoft, we announced 2020 that we were aiming to be carbon negative by 2030. And it's an ambitious goal, right? And even looking back today, I mean, I'll be upfront, this week it was announced that our data centers, the acceleration in growth and deployment of data centers for us means that our carbon footprint through indirect sources has increased 30%. And so it's tough, but it's like really looking for how is it that you can sort of make your business work, but make it in a sustainable fashion. And then again, 2 other announcements, again, just in the last couple of weeks around carbon capture, Microsoft investing in removing millions of tons of carbon out of the atmosphere, and also sourcing renewable energy for the new data centers that we're deploying. So yeah, I think absolutely right. It's identifying a target, trying to hit that, and yeah, just making it work the best way you can for your business.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to ask the next question now. We're going to move ahead to people, right? It's an important thing. How do you see the focus on people and, of course, planet as well, assisting in improving the bottom line of profitability for businesses? I think there's a misconception that perhaps if you're being sustainable, there is less quality or, you know, you have to sacrifice something. I'm not sure if that's the case anymore. Manny, do you want to start us?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And we get asked that a lot, especially when we start talking about how much, you know, the second life plastics that we are using in our products. I mean, at Logitech, we take great pride in the experience that our products actually bring in. And we look at it from a design perspective. And when we use these second life plastics, we want to ensure that you have the same experience that you have come to, expect from us. And that's why it's so critically important that it is designing for sustainability is actually at the forefront from a design perspective, rather than actually looking at it from a manufacturing perspective. So yeah, I agree with you that it is important for a customer to ask, hey, if you're using recycled plastics, are you actually getting the same experience? But from a Logitech point of view, we offer the same experience, superior experience that you have come to expect from all of our products. Yeah.
Lee, I'm going to jump over to you again and see how Microsoft is going when it comes to people and planet, right?
Yeah, it's a huge question. I wanted to touch on something that Manny was talking about. It's not mutually exclusive. Like, you don't have to create a good product or a sustainable product. You can absolutely do both. And it's important because that's what everyone's looking for, whether it's a consumer or a business customer. They're looking for not just the product that will do the job at the right price, but they're also looking for the product that will meet their own sustainability goals and also be a product that's appealing to people who value sustainability. So,
yeah. Phil, by all means, jump in.
Yeah, so look, I think ultimately we have to turn challenges into massive positives. As I said before, every customer I speak to at the moment has got sustainability at the core of what they do. I think, you know, we're very keen as a manufacturer to make sure that we're turning challenges into positives. So, for example, we've taken our brand new range of large format displays. We've reduced the amount of material we include in those products by 40%. So that's represented a significant investment from our perspective, but it's made the product more ecologically friendly. It's made it easier and cheaper to distribute, and it's easier and lighter to install, et cetera, et cetera. So with all of the challenges that we face around making sure that our products are sustainable, actually it also has a real benefit on customers. So to the point earlier, I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think we can start to link both of them together.
Heath, do you agree with all of this?
Yeah, I do. I definitely do. I mean, we're built on hydropower, but we run on people power, and I think that's one of the things that attracts people to Hydro Tasmania, in that we are renewable, we're sustainable, and it also becomes part of our EVP for our people too. So I think it's hugely important that we not only do it for our communities, but also do it for our people as well.
Of course, as you said earlier, customers are expecting it more and more these days. So how are we communicating sustainability actions to both employees and customers? There's an interesting one when it comes to communication. And is there transparency that is making a difference? Is that open communication making a difference? Does anyone want to jump in for that one first?
I'd be happy to jump in first. You know, as I mentioned, at Logitech, we've been actually publishing our sustainability report for 14 years in a row. It's available at logitech.com. And you know, you're more than welcome to actually go and visit that. We actually talk about the strides that we have done and the journey that we are going. Similar to what Lee mentioned, at Logitech, we've committed to become climate positive by 2030. We are already climate neutral. We are already, you know, halfway there. And we are in the process of also not only, hey, this is what we are doing. Our CEO, our COO globally has come out and you know, mentioned that these practices are open to all of you. As a customer, as a competitor, as anyone out there, we are more than willing to share these, knowledge that we have built up by being the expert in sustainability in our industry for a number of years. So this is not something new for us. We've been doing it for a number of years, and we implore even our customers and our partners to request that. When you're working with vendors, when you're looking at new technologies, do ask them, what are you doing what are you doing to reduce your footprint? When you're designing your product, when you are getting it out to us, what is it that you're doing? We are starting to see that a lot, even in RFQs. Customer RFQs, and going back to the previous conversation around how our customers are demanding that. And yeah, we are able to share that.
Very well said. Heath, I'm going to jump to you. Let's talk about, I guess you guys are always communicating that you're, green and mean.
Correct. Yeah, it's part of who we are, of course. And I think the other part of that too is we have Momentum Energy, who's our retail based here in Melbourne. And they also use that as part of their products to sell to the businesses, sell to customers around Victoria. So it's really huge. And I think even though we're already sustainable and obviously the biggest renewable energy generator, we're still working, we can still be better. And we've launched the Toward Net Zero initiative, which is, I think, aiming to be net zero by 2025, I think, as well. So
it's huge seeing transparency about this data,
Yeah, it's one thing to go out and say, we are sustainable, or here's our green product, but it's another to deliver on that promise, and also to be transparent about whether that worked or didn't work, what goes into those products, where are they going to end up? Like we hear a lot about programs, like for example, like trade-in programs for hardware, but then where does the hardware end up afterwards? Is it being just thrown in landfill, or is it being disposed of thoughtfully? So it's all of those sorts of things, and it sort of permeates everything we do these days.
Phil, where's Samsung or Manny? You're going to jump in?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I want to also call out a couple of things that we are doing. I think that actually value adds to what we are all just discussing. We like to think carbon is the new calorie in a lot of manner. If I go to a supermarket, if I want to buy a snack, one of my favorite snacks is Tim Tam. You flip the packet and you sort of see how much calories it has, right? And then you make an informed decision based on that. That's what we are doing from our products perspective. 2 out of 3 products that Logitech ships at the moment, whether it's video conference products, whether it's mice, keyboard mice, 2 out of 3 products that we are shipping is made out of recycled plastics. But we want to be able to communicate that to our customers to make these informed decisions. So how do we do that? We label that. If you might start noticing that in our products. If you turn it around, we will say how much carbon this product has consumed. For example, most of you or all of you, I'm sure, are using Logitech mice. If you turn it around, most of the mice will say it has taken 8 kilograms of CO2 to make this product. We are letting our customers make those kind of informed decisions. And by 2025, all of our products will have carbon labeling.
That's till next year, mate. Phil, I'll get you to jump in again. Well said.
We've got loads of conversations happening in our business all the time. One of the big conversations we have at the moment is consequence. So you could do something with amazing intention around green and it has a negative consequence. So we change our packaging and we use more recyclable materials in our packaging. Actually, it becomes less rigid. We can fit less on a pallet. So our transport costs go up and the carbon cost of transport goes up. So we're all about making long-term decisions rather than short-term wins. And a big part of that then becomes how to educate our team internally and our team externally about why we've made decisions that we have, because some might not seem obvious instantly. So from our perspective, we've really started to embrace it as part of our monthly, quarterly communication, because I think one of the themes throughout this conversation has been it is a critical customer conversation, and our ability to communicate it and our partners to understand our strategy is really, really key. We too were on our journey towards carbon neutrality. A bit more challenging for a manufacturer, but I mean that's certainly our long-term goal.
Yeah, wonderful stuff, and of course, education. It's key, absolutely key. Let's turn our attention to office fit outs. Okay, so you've all got places all around the world. Does sustainability affect your purchasing decisions when it comes to an office fit out, when you're wandering through this IKEA, trying to find something nice, something fun? And where does this sit in the priority list? Manny, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can use a real-time example of how we are doing this, right? we just refitted our HQ in San Francisco.
Nice.
And we actually looked at it completely differently. We took out all the, first of all, the first thing that we did is we looked at data insights on how our employees are using the offices. I think we can all agree that offices are used in a completely different manner compared to 5 years ago. So we used the technology that we have in our products, Sync Insights, actually gives you knowledge about how the meeting rooms are not only booked, but how it's used. So, for example, what that means is if someone actually booked a meeting room for 5 person, as a bigger meeting room, actually Sync will actually see how many people are actually using that room. So we are not looking at booking data, we are looking at usage data. And our IT and our workplace experience team looks at these kind of data to define our new office layout. So we looked at how these are being used in our other offices in Lausanne, in Dublin, and we actually used those insights to build out our new office in SFO. And it is, if you go through that new office fit out, initially what we thought we will need is a lot more bigger meeting rooms, right? Like medium-sized meeting rooms. But and also a few smaller meeting rooms for like huddle spaces where you're going to have 2 people, which we thought is primarily going to be used for, for someone to find a quiet space to sit down and get some work done. What the data showed us is that these are actually the rooms that are being mostly used for one-on-one conversations. So we actually ended up, our workplace experience team ended up actually building much more of a huddle space. But one thing, having done all of this, is this how we are going to, our employees are going to use it in the future? That's actually something we don't know. We are trying this, and what we recommend to our customers is that have agility when you're making these decisions when it comes to design. Able to actually accommodate not just now, how your employees are going to embrace that workplace experience in the future. That's going to be extremely important, but also use the data insights to drive these decisions. May it be customer or may it be partners who are actually talking to our customers, please leverage this technology. And because at the end of the day, you're talking about an entire office refit, which involves a lot of CapEx. And we need to be able to go out and deliver ROI to our customer. And for that, create a great experience, make it an adventure for our customers. And we have a portfolio that covers various different settings, but it really should be coming down to how a customer is looking to use that.
Yeah, very well said. Phil, I'll jump over to you and Samsung. When we're talking office fit outs, do you guys consider X, Y, Z?
Yeah, look, it's at the heart of many a conversation in our business. And we talk about 2 areas. We talk about workstation and we talk about workplace. Yeah, and both have changed radically in a post-COVID environment, both for ourselves and for our customers. Workstation is about the desk that people sit at, whether that's at home or whether that's in the office. And we've seen change to our product design that's definitely adapted to a new marketplace. Curved monitors, USB-C built in with 90-watt charging, multi-device environments are really critical. So people are bringing different manufacturers' devices in and they want to work with what they want to work with. And I think, more and more, we've had to design products that let people work the way they want to work rather than the way we think people should be working. So I think certainly from a workstation perspective, having a transient community coming in and being different every time they sit at a desk, but having an amazing experience is at the heart of what we're trying to do. And then from a workplace perspective, I think it's been alluded to, we have to make the workplace an attractive place for people to come and enjoy working. And people have certain expectations now. A boring office with desks lined up in straight lines, it isn't where people want to work anymore. And we have to encourage people to come to the office and be part of that community and engage in proactive conversations and driving our business forward.
Yeah, you can't exactly have that opening scene of The Matrix anymore. It's the ball pens everywhere. Yeah. It's all a bit grey. But Lee, take it away. Yeah, let's jump into Microsoft.
Look, I think it's been well said, right? You're talking about what decisions are being made for new office fit outs, what's important, what are people looking for when they go to an office. But I think an important part in all of it, though, is really keeping an open mind and looking back to see what works and what doesn't work. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to deploy something into an office that doesn't get used or a space that isn't used the way that you think it is. I think it's important to be flexible. Denison, the Sydney office for Microsoft, relatively new office and was my first office move working at Microsoft. And it was interesting, like the way that it was deployed, they had to pivot because it was mid-COVID at the time. And then after they deployed it, they were learning so much about how people use the space and how people use the rooms. They've done things like change rooms, add desks, move desks. They've constantly evolved and tried to improve. And I think that's a big important part of it. It's like whatever decisions you make, just be ready to go back and revisit.
Heath, your offices are a little bit unique from what I've seen in the footage. Tell us a little bit about how you guys are fitting out your offices in and outside, I guess.
Yeah, so we've got 30 power stations across Tasmania, so they're typically 3 or 4 hours away from our capital city, Hobart, and so giving the team out there the same sort of experience that we have in a typical city office is really important. So giving them the tools to connect their laptops, their docks, the same screens, the meeting room equipment. We want it to be exactly the same experience across the board. And it's super important for us, even as far as procuring the hardware or procuring for the fit outs. You want it to be, we include sustainability as a criteria in that piece as well. That's becoming much more prominent in how we engage with our partners and do the fittings and do that sort of thing. So I think it's been huge for us as part of pre-COVID and even more so post-COVID, particularly here in Melbourne. We actually did a massive office fit out in the CBD. Just pre-COVID, it was a fantastic space and did similar things that you talked to, Manny, as far as assessing the spaces. And COVID happens, Melbourne obviously locked down for a very long time. So it's about trying to get people back to the office now, and what the thing that attracts them is the technology and making sure that it all works when it's there. So that's been huge for us as far as making sure that is doing what it's meant to do and making that experience just as good.
As Phil outlined earlier, you know, people want to work with the stuff they want to work with.
That's
as
right.
long as it plugs into the thing, I don't mind. But where are you guys at when it comes to the adoption cycle of a hybrid workplace environment? As we've touched on a few times, things have changed. I was actually locked down not too far from here, so it's a bit traumatic coming back. But what have been the deciding factors in this future decision as well? Does anyone want to start?
Yeah, I'll jump in. We look, from Microsoft's perspective, people have looked at us, businesses have looked at us for years. I mean, we were talking about digital transformation before COVID, before hybrid work, before hybrid meetings, all that stuff. And we were often having to share how we work. And I was quite blessed. We had the ability to be able to work from anywhere from very early on, even pre-COVID. And it was something that was a shock to a lot of customers, right? They didn't understand, how did you make this work? Or what do you mean you don't have an allocated desk? But I think what we found is it adapts to the current way of work, right? Being able to provide that flexibility, that's really what people are looking for. They're looking for the ability to work in an office when they want to work at home when they want to work, and have the best experience for both.
Nicely done. Phil, jump in.
Yeah, so it's been really interesting for us. So our office in Sydney is between 400 and 500 people at any one time, and we've got lots of different worker types. So we've got operational functions, logistics and finance, etc. And we really needed those people to come back to the office quite quickly. Our systems and our infrastructure relied on people being in the same building. And then we have the question of fairness. You know, we wanted a hybrid workplace, but equally at the same time, we couldn't have our operational functions on here in the office 4 days a week and one day a week more flexible, and then have the salespeople with much more flexibility. So we've had to land on a mixture around making sure that we're fair to everybody in the business and seem to being equitable in terms of that. And when we've got people in the office between 3 and 4 days a week, we've got to make sure that those 3 or 4 days a week in the office are meaningful. And we've had to work quite hard on making sure that people recognise that being in the office is part of their development as well. You know, we certainly had some great people working for us that during that COVID period went into their shell a little bit, performed brilliantly because they were great people, but we necessarily helped them on their journey to become better. So we've worked on streams of activity around engaging the team to make sure it's a great place to come and work, and we've got a new coffee shop, and we do activities, and we've got a running and a walking club, and we've got some cool stuff that happens around the workplace. But equally at the same time, we're making sure that people have got a development plan, and that's centralised around training in the office, etc., etc. So definitely not a straight line, but it's been slightly different for us because we're probably more of an operationally focused organisation.
Nanny, what about you and the team at Logitech?
It's we sell technologies that offers great experiences, whether you're actually working from the office and whatnot. But as an organization, we needed to relook how we actually what kind of hybrid model do we actually implement. There are various statistics that actually say that one number that pops out to me is that 83% of the employees prefer hybrid work. We as an organization, we looked at how do we want to incentivize our team to come in to the workplace. As many of the conversations as we heard today, we needed to incentivize. We needed to make it a fun experience for our teams to come together. So we got HR, workplace experiences, IT coming together to look at how we are going to create that experience and what that looks like from a fit out and so on. What technologies, what experiences we are going to offer. We at Logitech, we actually, advise our employees to come in 2 days a week, what we call it as focus days, because we understand it is absolutely important to have that human connection for collaboration. I mean, nothing can replace that. But I personally think gone are the days we are going to ask our employees to come into the office 5 days a week. That's more or less gone. But that also begs the question, how do you make sure that your employee is as productive when they are going to be working from home or remote, like what I am doing at the moment? How do you get that meeting equity for the people, not only in the office, but more importantly, for the people that is dialing in? They need to feel involved in the conversation that's happening in the room. They need to feel like, hey, I am as equal as someone actually that's sitting in the room. I think we all have great technologies out there that offer some solutions towards that, right? I mean, if you haven't seen one of the products that we released last year, it's a product called a Site, which actually takes meeting equity to a completely different extent. We collaborated with Microsoft to be able to offer that technology. That really brings in a rich experience for folks on the meeting room. And also we have products for folks that are dialing in and so on. So it is important that we take all of this into consideration. But at Logitech, we embrace hybrid work. We believe that's the way to go. More and more statistics say that no matter what vertical your organization is in, employees demand hybrid work. And we also find that it's just not they're demanding it. They are much more efficient. They're much more productive. When they have been given the chance to really do that. But it all goes back to what you just mentioned, what you mentioned at the beginning of it, trust. How, as a company, puts that trust. We always say that give them the right technology to be able to use that and so on.
Very well said. Heath, I'm going to jump over to you. What part of the cycle are you in when it comes to hybrid work with your team?
So we've had, with the power stations being remote, we've had remote workers out there for a very long time. And so post-COVID, we implemented a lot of the technologies that we're talking about today, which is Logitech and Teams, which helps with that hybrid work. So the team don't have to, it's become almost a safety thing for us as far as you don't have to travel 2 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours to a power station. You can talk to your team members on Teams using Logitech equipment. And I think that's a really huge part for the team out in the field. And one of the things where they don't have the advantage that we do in being in the office, in that we can quite easily travel home in most cases and do the same things from there. So we've tried to help from that point of view. We've tried to help by experimenting with 8-day fortnights, 9-day fortnights. But for our people who are typically office based, it's been a huge part of getting that productive space for yourself. And here in Melbourne in particular, where that commute can be anywhere from 1 to 2 hours in some cases, giving that people the opportunity to work from home and be closer to their families and be more productive is hugely important. Yeah, there it is, that word again, productivity. We're all familiar with that one. So let's talk about whether or not we consider employee productivity to be at its peak with the models that we've been outlining. Everyone's guilty of, hanging out for a little bit after on the workday if they're on the laptop and whatnot. But tell us what you guys have seen and witnessed when it comes to productivity. Manny, I'll start with you.
Yeah, we clearly see the productivity go high for our employees who are actually, given the option to work remotely. Not just productivity, I think retention, actually. Even it goes down to even retention of our employees. Not only retention, we've noticed 18% less absenteeism. 18% of people are actually taking less days off, when given the option to do hybrid work. So, we have seen it without a doubt that this is the way to go for us as an organization. We have thousands of employees that are actually, some of the employees who are working in even different states. that are coming in. What we have also, I spoke about how we have refitted our SFO office. One fact that I didn't mention is that we reduced our real estate by 60% in that same office by designing even a better experience for our people, but we reduced our footprint by our real estate footprint by 60%. What do we do with the amount that we saved? For folks that are interstate, we reinvest that by allowing them to come in, fly in to our offices once a quarter. So we are reinvesting that amount that we are saving for employee productivity and so on. So that's what we at Logitech are doing. But as I mentioned, it's not one size fits all. You have to have an agile mindset, involve everyone at the beginning. I think Lee mentioned it earlier. You need to be okay to revise it if it doesn't work for you as you go along. So you need to be able to really, as a partner, if you're going out and talking to the customer, please keep that in mind. I think that's going to be a crucial thing that we expect for the next 4 to 5 years. Organizations are going to go and revisit that again based on the employees' behavior and the practices that they have.
I believe the word was agility that Lee used earlier.
Yeah.
Lee, I'll go over to you now. How's productivity been from the team? Put you on the spot.
Yeah, so like productivity for us, given that we've had the time to really bed down the way that we all work a little bit differently, we offered the ability to work remote or not. You can work like more than 50% of the time in the office without approval. Like that's something you can just tell the business you're doing. So if you want to do less, like another 50% at home, then sort of that's something that we enable. And we don't see the like, oh my God, you've all got to come back to the office, because we're not seeing that productivity. But I wanted to stray a little bit into product just for a second, because I think a big part of productivity as well, particularly if you're talking about whether it's at home or in the office, is there's this sort of, you get in the office, like it's been mentioned a few times, you get into that meeting room because that's why you're there that day. You're there to have a meeting. You sit down in the meeting room and it doesn't work. Or you're trying to take a call at your desk and the headset, you can't hear, or they can't hear you. And like it's technology getting in the way. And I think something that has sort of shone through, particularly with the work that we do with Logitech, is that like, and even, I mean, you mentioned Sight. I mean, that's a product that sort of gets out of the way. It's a product that really takes technology out of the equation. It's so good and seamless that when you're sitting there having a meeting, you're not worried about whether someone can hear you or whether they can see what you're sharing. It all just works. So I think there's a big part of that, and that extends to headsets and webcams and all that sort of stuff, where as long as it gets out of the way, as long as it just works, the productivity comes naturally.
I felt my blood pressure rising when you were talking about those issues. So I tell you what, nothing like tech issues, especially on like a Monday morning. Phil, I'll jump over to you. Productivity from the team at Samsung, how are they working?
I'm still a bit nervous about the 8-day week. I think I know a couple of people who buy into that, which scares the bejeebers out of me. But yeah, look, I think pre-COVID or as COVID hit, we were super nervous as an organisation that everything was going to stop, and that was a real fear that we spent hours and hours talking about.
People were watching a lot of telly though.
They did. But in our business, do you know what? Everybody just carried on, and I think the technology that is in the marketplace is enabling great communication. Probably the biggest challenge and the biggest focus in our mind is leadership, and I think our leadership styles have had to change as an organisation in a more hybrid environment. That we. Have we been guilty of occasions of being reactive as a team and using the fact that X, Y, and Z is next to us to get stuff done? I think we've had to be much clearer about our mid and long-term objectives. I think we've had to be more succinct in what we need to achieve, and that's brought a new discipline to us as a team. And I think it's actually improved our productivity because we've thought much more about our mid and long-term objectives rather than because we know we have to trust that people are out there executing rather than micromanaging them.
I'm really glad you mentioned leadership. I think it's an integral part of all of this stuff. Yeah. Heath, tell us a little bit about the productivity from the team based on the hybrid work environments that you guys have set up.
I think if anything, COVID taught us is that people have their own work styles and they'll work the way that works best for them. And I think working from home or working in the office has allowed people to have that choice. It gives that people the opportunity to be in their most productive mindset. We've seen people, it's normalised being able to start early and finish, or if you want to work later, you work later, and that's the time for you to be that productive point. It's you go home and pick up your kids from school at 3 p.m. and that's an accepted thing. So I think that's freed people up to think, I don't have to do 9 to 5, don't have to be in the office. I can work from home. The technology works, and that experience is going to be good for them. And I think that puts people in their right space and almost helps create a work-life balance more so by having that flexibility to do all those different things.
So I'm really excited to see this stuff in action. We've got a video that has been put together by the team at Logitech and Hydro Tasmania. Do you mind if we show it, Heath? Is that all right? You do feature.
I do feature it, so we go for it. There's a mean moustache in it too.
Hopefully I've teed up the team with enough time.
Hydro Tasmania is one of Australia's largest renewable energy generators. We have over 30 power stations across Tasmania. And we're also offering consulting services across India and the rest of the world, as well as a retail business running out of Melbourne, which is Momentum Energy.
The people connection is critical to business success. You can't have a successful business without having connections with each other. With a very diverse, very geographically spread workforce, we do need to try and facilitate those sorts of face-to-face connections wherever possible.
We're currently using a wide range of Logitech products. We've got the Logitech Rally Bar, Logitech Tap, and the Logitech Schedulers for our meeting rooms. We're also using some of the Brio cameras, as well as Logitech mice and keyboards. Because we have so many power stations across Tasmania, as well as people working across the world, using those Logitech solutions to connect to each other has made it really simple.
It saves us a lot of time travelling, safety meetings especially where we'd be face to face. So that gives us half a day essentially to still do work on site by using that Logitech gear.
For us as a business, we use the Microsoft ecosystem to operate here at Hydro Tasmania. As part of that, we have Microsoft Teams as our collaboration platform. Essentially, we need to go to market and look at all the different products that are Teams certified. And Logitech's broad range of products is Teams certified.
To tackle remote tech troubleshooting issues, especially when we've got so many different locations around Tasmania and Australia, we've been using the Logitech Sync portal, which proactively tells us if there's any issues and when we're doing firmware and updates, and also we can reboot the devices from the portal as well.
It's great working with Logitech because of the sustainability that they're focusing on, as well as what Hydro's focusing on, so it makes a really good partnership for us.
When we're looking at who we're partnering with from a business perspective, from a project perspective, when we can see organisations that also have that same train of thought around renewability and sustainability, it's always going to be an advantage.
Very cool stuff. I cannot wait to go to Tasmania based on some of those drone shots. Heath, wonderful stuff, and a wonderful example of companies coming together for the greater good. Now, it's well documented that collaboration and cooperative thinking, I think we can all agree, will improve innovation and business success. I think there's millions of examples of that. Is it a key consideration to you and your teams when it comes to collaborating with one another in the goals around hybrid work and, of course, sustainability as well? And can we get an example? I'm going to go to Lee. It looks like he's thinking very deeply. I'm going to target.
I'm glad he went here.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking that the way that at least I do my job, I mean, I'm a bit of an outlier. I sit on a fully remote team. So my boss is in the US, and I'm missing calls at 2 a.m. and I only see my colleagues maybe once or twice a year. And so like a little bit different, but I think, yeah, it's important, right, that ensuring that you're collaborating in the right way at the right time with the right people, like to get the right outcomes, I think is really important. When I use an example, it's easy to, like, I meet with my team monthly, fortnightly, like whenever we can. And if there's somebody in the UK and there's me in Australia and there's people in North America. And so finding time is really difficult. But it was amazing what happened when we got together in person for the first time, and you make leaps and bounds in sort of personal relationships, in learning how to work with each other, learning how to get along sometimes as well. It's so, like, that in-person time is so important. So that collaboration, that sort of engagement together is super important. But I do understand the sustainability aspect of like collaboration too, right? I get that it's like, should we be flying around the world every month to have a team meeting? Probably not. And I think businesses are recognising that as a huge benefit now as well. So they can not only ensure teams are tighter and more more collaborative, more engaged, but at the same time they aren't not just spending a lot of money on travel, but then also not sort of sending people around the world burning sort of millions of tons of CO2.
Bill, I'll jump over to you.
And look, you know, the workplace has changed forever, for sure. And you know, I think, you know, we as an organisation have been on a massive journey, but it's about creating balance. As you say, I had team members that we employed during COVID that I'd never met face to face, and they look a bit different without the fuzzy background around them and their dog running around in the background. So it's quite nice to see people in a suit now and again. So for sure, I think it's changed, and I think, you know, getting the balance right is critical for both us and for our customers alike, and that's certainly at the heart of a lot of the conversations that we're having every day.
Heath and Manny, I know you guys have teamed up because we just saw the clip there, but tell us a little bit more about, you know, how important that is to you and, of course, the company and the teams as well.
I think as we're more remote, it's super important to be able to connect and collaborate. We're on a bit of a cultural journey to have a co-collaborative growth culture within our business. And that's, you know, being able to interface with people, whether you're in person or at home or across the world. We've got an office in India that we work with as well. So it's key to the future of any business, I think.
Manny, take us home.
I mean, perfect example is I'm based out of Singapore. I don't get down to actually meet up with our team in Australia that frequently, but I come here once in a while. It's not gonna, you know, I spend a lot of time with our team in Australia, almost on a daily basis on video calls. We got great platform, great technology to be able to get that experience, great experience for me to talk to our team and collaborate with our team in a lot of manner. But nothing can take away the human connection. You know, so it is important where you draw a line of when you kind of, what is the right model? And that comes down to, as an organization, as a customer, how you deploy that based on your business requirements in a lot of manner. So yeah, look, it is the way to go in a lot of manner, but it also comes down to how you deploy it. We are still in a time when there is a lot of economic uncertainty at the moment, right? We can all agree that. I mean, our partners are saying that, our customers are saying that. There is a very good statement. Our boss actually said that to our customers and to our team as a go-to-market plan. We, you know, when there is an economic uncertainty, not everyone wants to be flying all around, and we almost came up with a go-to-market plan. This is actually, it's a go-to-market plan we deployed in a few countries. As a customer, if you cancel one trip, you can deploy one room. The amount of money that you're saving, if you know, saving on a one business trip, if you cancel that, you can actually deploy one room, and the ROI that you're going to get out of that meeting room by deploying the right technology, by deploying the right platform, is going to pay for itself, you know, in a matter of days rather than actually months and so on. So you have to really sort of educate your customers. We all have technologies that is going to offer super good experience for our customers, but, you know, we have a lot of partners here, and that's what you know, we need you all to go out to our customers and show them the value, show them the experience that it provides to them, and how applicable it is to their business. But sustainability should be at the forefront of it. I don't think anyone is going to come out and say, we don't care about sustainability. I was in South America last week. I'm not sure if you all heard about it, but there is an active flood happening in Brazil, in the south of Brazil at the moment. It was painful to talk to our customers who actually came in from Brazil about what's happening out there. Obviously, in Australia, we have all heard about flash floods that are happening all the time out here. So we are living in an era where we all have to make some informed decisions of what, you know, how we spend our dollars, how our organization spends our dollars. So I don't think anyone is going to say sustainability. They don't look at sustainability, but how do we look at it? But in the meantime, balance out the productivity that you're looking to get from your employees, and experience is going to be the vital thing.
There is that voting with your wallet element to it all, which is becoming ever more important. Now, you touched on some, you know, it's a strange time in the world, but I want to know a little bit about, from each of you, just to finish, what is exciting you about the year ahead? We've come out of COVID, things have changed so much. I'm just curious to know if there's anything that is lighting the fires amongst your teams, amongst the people you work with, amongst the company, and of course amongst the customers as well. I feel like I'm talking to like the Avengers of like tech companies at the moment, which is kind of cool. So I just wanted to throw that in there at the end.
Who's going to mention AI?
Yeah,
no,
I leave that to you. I don't leave that to you. Look, I think AI seems to be the buzzword at the moment. I know we've got tons of innovation going on around that. If I look at my business, I look after the display business and I look after our semiconductors business. I think software is probably the most exciting area for me and control in some way, shape or form. So we have got loads of conversations going on now around device controls. So we use we use our software platform, Smart Things, to start to control building green, so the carbon footprint of a building. So the ability to start to match device usage to when it's the most economic time from an electricity usage perspective. So we've got projects across the world where we're now sending push notifications to people saying your electricity bill would reduce by 10% if you used your washing machine at 10 o'clock. And I just think that whole piece where software and hardware connects is going to explode, and that for me is probably the most exciting.
I can see the excitement on you. Like,
I just can't believe I wasn't the one to bring up AI. Look, I think, I mean, sure, there's a lot of development in AI happening at the moment. Like Microsoft and many other companies are sort of developing in this space, but I don't think it's AI itself that's the most exciting part. I think it's what's next. Like, what is coming out? What are people going to do with these new tools? I mean, even like just this week, GPT-4 Omni was announced with. Like, it feels like a magical time to be alive and seeing these sorts of tools come to market and and I'm excited mostly about what people are going to create with these new tools.
Heath, what do you got for us?
Of course, AI, Copilot and all those sort of wonderful things are going to be the topic of conversation for us for the next few years in reality. But I think for me at the moment, we've got a major project that's sort of working its way along, which is the battery of the nation. So being in the IT team, it's how do we use the tools and the software and the hardware to help enable people better, get more capability out of what we've got in our environment, and contributing to what could be a humongous game changer for not only Tassie but Australia as well.
Manny?
Look, we look at it from multiple lenses for what we are looking forward to for the next year or so. One is when we look at our data, it shows that almost single digit of the meeting rooms are video enabled or MTI enabled. So there is a tremendous opportunity in front for us to actually go out and talk to our customers and talk about the how that workplace experience can transform when they actually video enable a room and what that means for the employee retention, et cetera, et cetera. That's exciting for us because we are at the forefront talking to our customers or partners on the tremendous opportunity ahead for us for the next one, not only next 1 year, that's going to be for the next few years. Talking about innovation, I mean, Microsoft and Samsung and us, we're all looking at AI, what that actually means for our business. I agree, software is one aspect of it. If I look at what that actually means for our business, one of the recent developments, we just released Right Sound 2, which is a new feature we released as part of a Collab OS update. We are not charging anything for this. It's just a free update that we just released a few days ago. This is fresh off the oven. It is working in our current products, Rallybar Mini, and it actually means that the mic clarity is 2 times better than what it was actually designed for. We are using the same hardware. We haven't done anything on the hardware side, but we are using software update to make the product even better. That's AI. That's doing that work for us now. So there is lots of good things that we are doing in that front. There are some pretty innovative products that we are bringing out into the market in the next in the next few weeks, months. That's also very exciting. But overall, we feel that we are at an exciting time of our journey when we are talking to our customers and partners about what's ahead.
I'd like to thank all of you for joining us today, giving us your insights, in front of all these wonderful people out here. It's clearly been an important discussion to be had, and I appreciate your time. Thanks for going along with some of my jokes. So it certainly seems to be a demanding, of course, but exciting time for the business world. And of course, it remains important to acknowledge both the fragility of our planet and our accountability for it. I feel like you're all being pretty accountable, which is wonderful. I'd like to thank the panel for their time, and I'd also like to finish with a statement from Wendy Becker, Chairman of the Board for Logitech. Logitech's transformational journey begins and ends with designing a positive future, one that defies the logic of the past to create a more equitable and climate-positive world. And I think that sums up our panel very, very well indeed. I want to thank all of you for joining us out there in television land, as well as all of you here in person as well. I've been Mike Loader. All the best.